Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We introduce to you the Virginia Commonwealth University Police Academy's 40th Basic Law Enforcement graduating class and their mentors. Please stand. Please remain standing and recognize the Virginia Commonwealth University Police Honor Guard for the salute of our colors and the singing of our national anthem by recruit Victoria Latham.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched, where so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Mark time. Forward, march.
Please be seated. Thank you, Recruit Latham, for that rendition of our national anthem. Welcome to the graduating ceremonies of the 40th Basic Police Academy at Virginia Commonwealth University. I'm Captain Mike O'Berry. I'm the Assistant Director of Police Operations and the Academy Director. This is a special day for these 9 individuals you see sitting before you. We extend our warmest welcome to their families, friends, and instructors, and distinguished guests who include the Henrico Police Department and the Richmond Police Department, who are in the audience today. Thank you for being here. Now our class chaplain, Recruit Brandy Drumgold, will invoke these ceremonies with a prayer.
Dear Lord, thank you for bringing us together for this celebration. We ask that you guide our hearts, bring peace of mind, protection from the wicked, strengthen us and our support systems, and use us to do your will. Lord, we ask that you bless our families with the gift of understanding and compassion when times are tough. We thank you for bringing us through the first step in our journey into law enforcement with the sincerest of hearts. Thank you. In the name of Jesus, let us all say amen. Amen.
I would like to introduce to you our distinguished members on the floor. To your left are the Honorable Marla Graff Decker, Judge of the Virginia Courts of Appeals, Chief John Minuti, our Chief here at VCU Police, our VCU Police Captains, David Aldridge and Sean Ingram, Lieutenant Bill Butters, the VCU Police Department Support Services Lieutenant, Sergeant Lance Gatewood, Sergeant in charge of the training and education of the 40th Basic School, and Officer Curtis Dieselhorse, officer assigned to the Training and Education Division. We would like to also thank all of the dedicated instructors, agencies, and volunteers who contributed so much to the success of the 40th Basic School. This Academy class completed 24 weeks of intense law enforcement training that included numerous written and practical exams, and each recruit having successfully passed over 1,400 performance objectives. Please join me in recognizing these dedicated instructors with your applause. Now at this time, I welcome our Chief, John Minuti, to the podium to introduce our guest speaker.
Good afternoon. Judge Marla Graff Decker is a graduate of Gettysburg College, where she earned her Bachelor of Science in Political Science. She received her JD from T.C. Williams School of Law at the University of Richmond. Judge Decker began her career in 1983 as an Assistant Attorney General in the Criminal Litigation Section, where she tried cases in state and federal court and defended convictions on appeal. After almost 20 years in the Criminal Litigation Section, Decker was promoted to Section Chief of the Special Prosecution Section, which consisted of the Medicaid Fraud Unit, Organized Crime, Environmental Health Professions Unit. Later, she was appointed Deputy Attorney General of the Public Safety and Enforcement Division and managed criminal litigation, correctional litigation, special prosecution, and Medicaid fraud control sections. In January of 2010, Decker was appointed by the governor to serve as Secretary of Public Safety. In that role, responsible for the 11 state agencies that comprised the Public Safety Secretariat, including Departments of State Police, Corrections, Juvenile Justice, Criminal Justice Services, Forensic Science, and the Virginia National Guard. She also advised the governor on all public safety matters and spearheaded his administration's criminal justice legislative agenda. On November 1st, 2013, Judge Decker was appointed to the Court of Appeals. In January 2014, Decker was elected by the Virginia General Assembly to an 8-year term on the Court of Appeals. For many years, Judge Decker has served as an evening adjunct professor for the University of Richmond School of Law, where she teaches appellate advocacy, and the University of Richmond School of Continuing Studies, where she teaches a variety of courses. She is a life member of the Tuckahoe Volunteer Rescue Squad, and also someone that I consider a very, very good friend. Judge Decker.
Well, good evening. What a nice introduction, and what that introduction tells you is that I'm old. That's really what it boils down to. I want to say, first and foremost, congratulations to all of the graduates today. You are now a part of what I consider one of the most noble professions and one of the most important pieces of the public safety team. And you are truly the boots on the ground. And so congratulations. Took you a while to get here, and lots of hard work and lots of positive attitude, and you're here now, and I'm really the only thing between you and getting out there to celebrate. So I promise I won't be long. I do have a few things, though, that I want to say. And the first thing I want to say is thank you for what you do, because you're not going to get that a lot, and you're particularly not going to get that a lot from the people you serve. You're mostly going to get it from colleagues and supervisors. So as a citizen of the Commonwealth, I want to thank you for what you do. And I want to thank you for making a commitment to law enforcement at probably one of the most challenging times in modern history to go into law enforcement. And I see the smiles on your mentors' faces because they know that. And you know that as well. and it's a very challenging time, but I would also urge you to think of it as probably one of the best times, because you truly can make a difference. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. I want to briefly talk to the family members who are here. How many of you are family members? Raise your hands. Family members, friends, raise your hands. Okay. I want to thank all of you because, you see, I'm the daughter of a police officer, and so I know what it's like to grow up in a police law enforcement family. And the family make as many sacrifices as the officers do. And so I want to thank you for giving of your loved one and supporting your loved one so they can do one of the most important jobs out there. And it truly is one of the most important jobs out there. And when you are waiting for them to get home from a shift, worrying about them because you see something on the TV or over the internet, or you just don't know where they are and they should be home, think about the fact that they are doing something that they are passionate about, they are doing something that they believe in, and they are doing something that will make the community a better place and a safer place to live and work and to raise children. So think about that. And I will say to you recruits, remember your families. Remember your families. You know you're okay. You know what you're doing. You know why you're late getting home. They don't. So a text message, phone call, not a bad thing. You get tied up in the moment, and you get energized, and your adrenaline's flowing, and you're doing something, and you're staying to get the job done because that's what you do. Just remember your families, and remember that they're worried about you, they're thinking about you. So every once in a while, when you can, get the word back. And especially if something happens close and local, and they need to know where you are. Now, I want to talk about, you've heard a lot of things in the media about things that do and don't matter. Okay? I want to tell you what you do matters. What you do every shift matters. And I'm going to tell you a few reasons why. And Chief Minuti asked me to be fairly brief, so I'm not going to tell you all the reasons why what you do matters, but I want to hit the highlights of some of the things and some of the reasons that what you do matters. Well, we all know that the public climate is a little bit challenging right now. Okay? Couple of scenarios out there that get a lot of press and a lot of media attention, and they can poison the whole well. And, you know, whether somebody does something bad or not, it relates to them, and maybe it involves their department, but it doesn't involve your department, and yet you suffer from that stigma. And so this is a time when law enforcement is truly challenging. And what we have are a bunch of professionals who are meeting and exceeding the challenge. And I think you all understand that that's what your chief expects of you. Professionalism now is so important. It's always been important. And it's always been reinforced in academies, and it's always been discussed by whoever's at the top of the food chain in your department, in the departments involved, but it is so important now. It is so important now. And in this day of social media and smartphone technology and body cameras and all the other things that are out there to capture everything you do, everything you say, it is extremely important. You know, somebody who works in what I would call a regular job, somebody who works in a regular job, you know, they go to work and they're in a bad mood. They're in a bad mood, they can be mean, They can be maybe, you know, not on their best at all times, distracted, whatever it might be, and make mistakes and apologize and be done with it. You can't. You do not have the luxury to have a bad day. And that begins today, and it goes to the end of your career till you retire. It's a tough gig. It's a worthwhile gig, but it's a tough gig. So you can't afford to go and start your shift in a bad mood. You can't be distracted. You can't be thinking about what you're going to do that night. You can't be thinking about how mad you are at your kid for doing X, Y, or Z. Can't. Why? Because it could be a matter of life or death for you or somebody else, or it could be that oh darn moment where you say something you shouldn't say or do something you shouldn't do, and it's captured on a video or something, and, you know, it affects not only you and your career, but it affects the department. And it affects law enforcement around the country. And that's just the nature of the way it is. So professionalism has never been more important than it is now, and you all have the capacity to be professionals, or you wouldn't be graduating today. Over the past 5 years or so, this department has gone through some major changes that have nothing to do with the climate out there, but everything to do with 21st century policing. And I know you've been quizzed on it, so I know you know how complaints have dropped and officer use of force has dropped, and there are a number of things that have dropped, and the department is in a place right now where it has turned a very, very important corner in terms of the impression that the community you serve has about you. And that good faith and that good rap, if you will serve you all well. Don't misuse it. Don't take it for granted. Build on it. Build on it. Make it better. Do better. Be better than expected of you. Be better than everybody around you expects you to be. And you will truly make a difference. Because all of these things that the department as a whole has done has improved community relations. And your community is a really interesting community. Your community is a really interesting community. You have a campus, an urban campus environment. You have the capital city. You have an international flavor to the people who you are serving, because VCU recruits from all over the world. You have faculty, you have staff, you have a level 1 trauma center here, right here in your community. That is impressive and challenging. It is impressive and challenging. Because what it means is you've got a dynamic that is probably exists maybe in 5 other places in the country. And it's a dynamic that makes you shift gears every block you go. 1 minute, you're dealing with students. The next minute, you're dealing with dignitaries that are coming in. The next minute, you're dealing with the trauma center. It's all diverse. And you have to be prepared to deal with those diversities and shift gears really quickly so that you can change and adapt to the people that you're serving. And you all learned about protect and serve, right? It's not just a motto. You protect and you serve. Okay? You have 2 responsibilities. And those responsibilities are to be taken very seriously. You know, just today on the VCU campus, there was a report of somebody with a gun. Everything else takes second fiddle to somebody running around on the campus with a gun, right? Then you shift back, and the people who were out there worrying about that are sitting up here at a graduation. Tonight, something else is going to be going around on. Because, you know, in the city, you have 1 million people in the daytime and a lot less at night, and the environment changes when the sun goes down. And so you have a very interesting and diverse population that you deal with. But you have a tremendous opportunity to make a difference in the lives of people. These students who you serve are going to be looking to you. They're going to be looking to you because of what they see and read and, you know, experience on the internet. They're at a pivotal time in their development emotionally and intellectually, and so they are going to be challenging, and they are going to be experimenting, and they are going to be doing all kinds of things. And you all have the opportunity to make a difference in the way they see the world, the lens they see the world in. Because, again, you are there, you're the boots on the ground, you're the ones they're going to see in good times, in bad times, and in times when they're their most vulnerable. And so you have an opportunity. You have an opportunity to be a guardian and not a warrior. You have an opportunity to protect them. You have an opportunity to make a difference in their lives. Take advantage of that and make a positive impression, okay? Take away their fear of law enforcement. Take away their fear of vulnerability. Take away the mystery about what is and isn't legal. Take away the misconceptions that they have about law enforcement. Be the grown-up in the room. You've heard that expression. Be the grown-up in the room. Be the peacemaker. Talk. Speak. Use your words. Explain things to them. People will react better when they understand what you are talking about. When they understand why you want them to do something, they will react much better than with an order. Recognize that you have awesome powers, but those awesome powers are to be used wisely, and they are to be used only when necessary. One other thing I want to talk a little bit about is the fact that you've had tremendous amount of training. Now is the time that you need to use it. You are trained to react in certain ways to certain scenarios and not to react in certain ways to other scenarios. Don't forget your training. Your training is what's going to save your life. It's what's going to keep you out of a civil lawsuit. It's what's going to keep you out of trouble with your superiors, and it's what's going to bring you home at the end of a shift. Training. Use your training. You know, there's always going to be opportunities for you. There's going to be opportunities to be mentors to fellow officers. There's going to be opportunities to be mentors to those in your community that you serve. There's going to be all kinds of opportunities. Don't pass the opportunities by, and don't abuse the power that you have. You only have to think as far as, you know, we had the recent situation in Oregon. You only have to think as far as a few years ago with Virginia Tech to understand that the job you do is a dangerous one. The job you do is a dangerous one. Don't let anybody tell you that because you're a campus officer, it is any safer than being an officer anywhere else. In fact, in a lot of ways, it's more dangerous. But I can tell you firsthand, from having been a deputy attorney general when Virginia Tech happened, the Virginia Tech Police Department saved lives that day. They acted in a heroic way and saved lives. They used their training and saved lives. They made decisions that made a difference. And so I would urge you that, to keep in mind that you have the ability most of the time to make a difference with your words. But remember your training when necessary. And I want to end by saying, I want to offer one thought, and that is, each and every day, what you do matters. It's where we started in this discussion. Each and every day, what you do matters. It matters to the people in your community. It matters to your supervisors. It matters to your colleagues. It matters to your family. And so you can rest easy at the end of shift as you get ready to go home at the end of shift, knowing that what you do matters every day, every shift. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Judge Decker. In recognition for your continued support and service to law enforcement and for our graduation keynote address, we present you with this small gift. Okay, next, we are pleased to introduce Rookie of the Year, Officer Kelly Chamberlain, for remarks on behalf of the mentors for the 40th Basic School.
I'd like to begin by congratulating each of you for a huge accomplishment. Having just graduated from the last academy, I know that the dedication and hard work that you put to get in where you are today. Your journey is just beginning, and I'm honored to call you my brothers and sisters. I was thinking about what to say and what advice I could give you since I was sitting where you were just a little over a year ago, and I came up with a few things. Keep your family first. At the end of the day, that's who matters the most. Keep the passion for the job that you have on your first day. Don't ever get complacent. Rely on your partners. There's always someone to have your back, and trust me, we will. Don't be afraid to ask questions. We're always learning from each other. Don't get too competitive with other officers. You'll drive yourself crazy. Instead, strive to do more and work harder today than you did yesterday. Find your passion and pursue it. There are so many routes you can go with this job. Stay safe, and when you sign on each day, make your #1 goal to go home to your loved ones. Since I've not been doing this job very long, I asked some of the other officers who have been here what advice they would give, and this is what I received from Detective McCarty. At the end of the day, you may not change the world. It's a tough realization that you'll come to in time. You will see things that change you and make you question humanity. Do not let it harden you. For your actions, as small as they may seem in the grand scheme of things, are immense and life-changing to that one person who needs your help and support. From Officer Adkins, remember there are two sides to every story. Somewhere in the middle lies the truth. It's now your job to go out and find the truth. Don't become so cynical towards people that you lose your compassion for those who may need it. And remember to make yourself smile or laugh at least once a day. It's good for your health. Most importantly, be safe out there and wash their hands. From Officer DeJesus, never allow anyone or anything to dictate your behavior. Always stay professional. Remember to leave work at work. Most importantly, it's a hard job, and as much as we like to think we are not superheroes. So never be afraid to ask for help in any way that you may need it. Again, congratulations to each of you, and I wish you best of luck, and I look forward to working with you guys.
Thank you, Officer Chamberlain. Next, Class President of the 40th Basic School, Recruit Jason Helmlinger, is invited to the podium.
Good evening. Evening, family, friends, and guests. Welcome to the Virginia Commonwealth University 40th Police Academy graduation. As the oldest member of the academy and having prior experience in law enforcement, I'd like to offer a bit of wisdom to my fellow classmates and graduates, as well as some encouragement to those of you currently serving and have served some time in law enforcement. At some point in all of your journeys, you received a calling on your life to make a difference, to be a part of a community and dig your heels into something that was much bigger than yourself. When you chose to respond to that call, you were saying, how much can I give, not how much will I get? Not everyone is capable of answering this call, you see. Not everyone will even get the call. You were chosen for a reason. You were each chosen for a reason. I commend each of you responding to that call and understanding the requirements that come along to answering that specific call. Now that you've answered that call, it's imperative to understand what is more important than just responding to that call. And that's how you're going to respond to that call. That's how you're going to respond to that call on a daily basis. See, in law enforcement, there's this great paradox or contradiction that's very seldom gets mastered. In fact, I'd already written the speech, and 2 days later, I was talking to a veteran officer while working an assignment on Broad Street during the races, and he was explaining this exact thing to me and why the job had become difficult to him. He'd been an officer for about 10, 11, 12 years. And see, he was explaining that this paradox that I'm going to explain to you is why it's been difficult for him. The paradox is that it's important to develop thick skin while at the same time being careful not to develop a hard heart. See, we have to be able to mentally and emotionally separate ourselves enough in order to see things without our emotions getting in the way, but also stay connected enough to still have compassion and empathy, which is extremely important as a public servant, which is what we've been called to do, to serve the public. See, the perfect amount of both is necessary to be most effective in this line of work. This officer was telling me that we can't be expected to do both. They can't expect us to have thick skin and expect us to have sympathy at the same time. And I have to respectfully disagree. See, I believe we are capable of mastering this paradox. It's not easy, but it's possible. And I believe it's the most important thing that we can do as an officer. I believe most of us don't master it because we don't understand how to. And here's the word that you need to remember. This is how you master the paradox. You have to be intentional about it. You have to be intentional about your life. See, you have to be intentional about protecting your heart. You have to be intentional about the way you respond. You have to be intentional about responding and reacting to the call of police work appropriately. Don't be confused with thick skin and a hard heart, by the way, because they're not the same thing. See, thick skin is having a good filter. It's being able to cast off offenses. It's being diligent about diffusing stress in your life. Thick skin will actually protect you from getting a hard heart. We've all heard that saying, life is 10% what happens to us and 90% of how we respond. When you respond to the calling of police work, how you respond is everything. You'll be called upon every day over and over and over and over again. You can't control the events or circumstances of a call, but you can control your reaction. And you got to know the same thing is true about your life. You can't control the circumstances, but you can control your reaction. See, you're committing to a higher standard. You will be mistreated, misjudged, disrespected, and degraded, but it's your duty to respond properly regardless. That's what sets us apart. That's what's going to set you apart. Not just anyone can answer the call. So how do you master this paradox? Learning how to control those reactions and learning how to cast off stress is a difference between healthy minds and bodies and sick minds and bodies. The instructors were very intentional about how they trained us. Instructors were very intentional about how we reacted under stress. They were very intentional about how and when we used our weapons, and they were very intentional about everything that we did the weeks of our training. You see, if you continue, and so my suggestion would be this, that not only in police sport, but you also find a way to continue to be trained in life, trained in wisdom, trained in integrity, and be intentional about it. How you respond to the call is so important. Your life will depend on it. Your relationships will depend on it. And you better believe your job's going to depend on it. And I truly believe that nobody actually plans to mess up their lives. The problem is few of us plan not to, which means you have to be intentional about your job. You have to be intentional about your physical health. You have to be intentional about your mental health. And so this is to the rest of you, the men and women who sit behind the badge tonight. We, the 40th Academy class, would like to thank you for what you have done. Thank you to the Academy staff and volunteers for the tireless effort you have put forth to prepare us for the work ahead. Thank you to those officers, your years of service and years of dedication and professionalism to make each community safe, continuing to pave the way for the next generation of law enforcement. And thank you to those who served over the years, and even certain chiefs and people I know who's retired and come back to the job. And it just shows that we have some big shoes to fill in continuing to answer the call. Your careers are an example where we hope to be one day, still responding to the call and leading the next generation of public servants to do the same. Thank you, and I pray for your safety as you continue to answer the call. Thank you. And from the 40th class of Virginia Commonwealth University, we would like to present Captain with a plaque. Thank you. Thank you, Captain.
Well, thank you, Recruit Helmlinger, and thank you to each member of the 40th Basic Class. This plaque will hang on the wall at the Academy to mark your place. These new officers have met all the DCJS mandated law enforcement training requirements, objectives, through their written tests, practical drills, night exercises, and training well beyond the 950 hours scheduled over the past 24 weeks. Each of these new officers has earned their place in law enforcement. We now congratulate and invite each graduate to the front to be presented with your badge by Chief Minuti. As we've done in the past, we have a special individual here today that will assist Chief Minuti with the presentation of the badges to our soon-to-become VCU police officers. This young man is the 4th captain of the VCU Police, and he has a role because he takes safety very seriously. Captain Ben has kept his eyes on the MCV Daycare Center for the past couple of years for Chief Minuti. Captain Ben made sure that kids were listening to their teachers, and when they did not, he would issue them citations. He wears our VCU patch, and someday he will be standing up here with our recruits, where our recruits are standing now. Ben? I'll now call each recruit to the forward to be issued their badges. India N. Brown. Brandy M. Drumgold. Nicholas B. Finch. Jason W. Helmlinger. Victoria R. Latham. Thomas McLean. Andrew T. Riggett. Nathaniel J. Whitenack. Joshua S. Willis. Okay, we now invite the family and friends who will be pinning these officers to come forward. They will pin your badge to your uniform as a symbol of your commitment to protect and serve. Now our mentors will come forward and congratulate these new officers. Class, please be seated. Now I invite Sergeant Lance Gatewood to the podium to bring some special gifts, honors.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank you all for your continuous support throughout this academy. I'm certain that you are all very proud of them and you have the right to be so. This academy had some significant challenging obstacles. Between the 1,400 objectives set forth by the Virginia Department of Criminal Justice and the practical scenarios that we required them to work through, they had a full plate. Please keep in mind that it only takes a second to quit. Your recruit had over 14 million seconds, and they didn't quit. That's an accomplishment and a testament to their determination and drive to be here with us today. At the end of the ceremony, these 9 recruits will be acknowledged as officers, a goal that each had and has struggled to achieve. You, as their support, have no doubt helped them through this journey. This day marks the beginning of what I hope is a long and fruitful career for each of them. Your continued support will be critical in their success, and again, I thank you. To the Academy, I have one last order for you as your Academy Sergeant. This world we live in and the public opinion of the badge you now wear is dark and tarnished. I would charge each of you to come to work every day for the rest of your careers with this motto in mind. This badge does not define me. I define this badge. There is a challenge far greater than the defense of lawlessness in this time. You have heard the comparison of police to that of a sheepdog protecting the flock from the wolves of this world. We as police have to show the public that we swore an oath to serve and protect, that men and women who choose to put on this uniform on a daily basis deserve the respect and acknowledgement of the sheepdogs we are. We do this by being polite, professional, and steadfast in our duties consistently every day, evening, midnight, or overtime shift that we work. Always remember why you chose this career and what this day feels like, and it will help you get through the dark days. Lean on the support of your families, friends, and loved ones. Lean on each other. Support one another, just as you have done the last 14 1/4 million seconds. Now, without further ado, I'll get to the task that I was actually put up here to do, and that is to acknowledge some of our high achievers in the Academy. The Academy Awards goes to the recruit who carried the highest average through the Academy for the written test scores. The class average was 93.88. This year, there was a tie between two recruits until the very last exam taken yesterday morning. If I could please get Officer Whiteneck to come forward and receive the Academic Achievement Award. The next award goes to the recruit who had the best attitude, leadership, and all-around performance over the course of the Academy. This recruit also had the highest physical fitness score, the highest firearms score, the best driving time during the emergency vehicle operations training. Officer Helmlinger, would you please come receive this award? I'd like to personally acknowledge and thank Officer Helmlinger and Whiteneck for their roles as the Academy President and Vice President. Their leadership and work ethic aided the staff in their daily rigors of training. This Academy was a joy to work with, and there were several personal accomplishments amongst the individuals you see before you. I would like to thank each of you for your hard work, determination, and dedication. Congratulations, and I look forward to working with you in the future.
All right, thank you, Sergeant Gatewood. Please help me congratulate the 40th Basic Class. Now for a few closing remarks by Chief Minuti.
So, funny story. You probably know that I've done a gig or two with Judge Decker, and she does the same thing every single time. She comes up here and she reads my speech. She shows up with nothing, comes up here, reads my speech. The one page she leaves out, Kelly Chamberlain takes and reads that page. Gatewood finds a page of my speech, and then Helmsinger even found a paragraph or two of my speech. So either we're all really starting to sound alike, or I should keep my speech over there with me. So now is clearly a time in America in which police must work tirelessly in gaining back trust of people and communities across the country. I begin with this bold statement simply because as a department, we must be working to accomplish this task each and every day. As new police officers, I need your help. That is clearly your calling here. You arrived today at this ceremony as recruits. However, this afternoon, you'll leave as police officers. So what's changed? There's been hard work, sacrifice, commitment, dedication, and perseverance invested in your journey. There's been good times, there's been bad times, there's been some easy days, and there's been some really hard days. When that combination is invested into anything, the outcome is always success. In this group you see before you, there's someone that plays the violin, there's a dog lover, a son of an FBI family, a pastor, a singer, VCU graduate, a reserve member of the 4th Combat Engineer Battalion, and a music lover. And if you look at this group, you'll really never figure out who is who, with the exception of the singer graduate. The strength of this recruit class comes from the diverse and very different backgrounds that they all come from. Day one, April 20th, 2015, my favorite day, because in the academy it's eyes wide open. And every single recruit is sitting there, their eyes are that far wide open, they're focused on every single word that we talk about. And the first day we talked about closing the loop. Relentless follow through on the things that we do. We talked about professionalism and high standards. We talked about doing more than is expected. We talked about not being willing to push one encounter off the table as if it didn't matter, ever. We talked about the importance of treating everyone with dignity and respect. And we talked about those same things just about in every conversation that I had with each of you. Here at VCU Police, we believe in hard work. Your families and friends have made sacrifices so that you can succeed, and you owe them. You've bonded and built relationships. Each of you have grown personally and professionally, and those relationships will last a lifetime if you want them to. The challenge for every police chief is to mold and shape police recruits into the type of officers that will serve the community very well, each and every day. For us, this required our recruits to be completely and totally immersed in community policing principles and practices every minute of every day. This class breathes, walks, and talks service and community policing, because if they didn't, they wouldn't be sitting here right now. They know that each day their actions move the VCU Police Department either forwards or backwards. Our philosophy is that simple. This class was given President Obama's 21st Century Policing Task Force report and tasked with identifying recommendations from that report that were relevant to VCU police. They're the first VCU police recruit class to wear body-worn video cameras, a recommendation directly out of that report. Twice, they went to Kroger and assisted citizens with bringing groceries out to their vehicles. They learned a lesson that at least one recruit should never, ever be tasked with carrying the eggs. They chose this task because they felt it humanized them to the strangers that they met directly out of the task force report. They planned, shopped, and cooked a real spaghetti dinner. And I can tell you I know about a couple of things, and spaghetti is one of them. They did this at Doorways, formerly the VCU Health System Hospitality House. If you think you're having a bad day, please go down there and visit. It's an affordable option for people who have to remain in close proximity to the VCU Health System. I met several people that night who had just had stem cell transplants, a liver transplant, and others who were being treated for extremely aggressive forms of cancer. Making a difference each and every day, you guessed it, right out of the task force report. They helped raise over $1,000 for Special Olympics being dunked, yes dunked, just like donuts, in the dunk tank, participating in Dunk-A-Cop with Phi Kappa Sigma Delta. They participated in the Memorial Day Silent Run. They participated in the annual anniversary for Mr. Adams, a local merchant that's had a business on Broad Street for over 50 years. They participated in several Chiefs challenges, where these physical and mental challenges, when executed on a college campus, are often illegal. However, when they're done with yours truly, it's not called hazing, it's called training. As they conducted their PT on campus, they picked up trash. We pick up trash because it's too easy to run by it. On one of our challenges, they picked up over 200 pounds of trash in 45 minutes. These challenges made this class communicate and work together. In policing, it's rarely just one person that accomplishes something great. Policing is a team effort. That's a lesson that every police officer needs to learn very early on in their career. As a class, there were setbacks, a bit of racial tension at times, but the group worked together and worked through that, and valuable lessons are learned. Now, you can't see their faces, but obviously I can. And I'm getting the how does Minuti know that look. And so I would just tell each of you, just get used to it and embrace the moment. You've been led and guided by many people who simply wanted to see each of you succeed and will ask nothing of you in return. Don't forget who those people are, and don't ever forget what it was like to be helped. A tremendous amount of time, effort, energy, and resources have been invested in you. People here have been invested in you. And when we invest, we expect returns, and we expect big returns. You leave here today as police officers. Your department will expect more from you. Society will expect more from you and hold you to a higher standard each and every minute of every day. The community here at VCU will expect you to be a role model and a leader. Derek Jeter of the New York Yankees said, "There may be people that have more talent than you, but there's no excuse for anyone to work harder than you do." A younger generation will look up to you. They're still impressionable, moldable, and trying to find their own destination in life. Please don't forget what it felt like when you were helped. Judging is easy. Influencing and inspiring someone else is much harder. Never forget how good it feels when someone gives you a second chance after you've made a mistake. As you work here at VCU, give lots of second chances. Often people learn more from a second chance than anything else, and they also never forget a second chance. VCU continues to move into the future. Dramatic change is taking place within this department, and a new culture is being established, and you are part of that new culture. VCU needs leaders who are fueled by an unyielding pursuit of excellence in everything that they do. So I guess that brings me to my expectations of each of you. An unknown author wrote, "Police departments don't run on gasoline and electricity. They run on rumor and innuendo." Don't be one of those people that lack the courage and fortitude to contribute in a positive manner to your police department. With each and every task, do more than is expected of you. Always move us forward, never backwards. I expect each of you to be a leader and a problem solver. It's easy to walk past problems that are not yours. Don't. Spend your time thinking and planning solutions rather than complaining about problems. Engage and interact with the community that you police. Always educate, inform, and involve them to help you solve problems. Seek to understand others first. Think of what it's like to be standing on the other side of the conversation. Always treat others with dignity and respect. The same dignity and respect you would want shown to your mother, father, wife, and child. I've seen what some said were impossible tasks accomplished with passion. Find your passion within policing. Those who have a passion for what they do always believe that they can affect change. They always believe they can make things better, and they live to serve. Those who are fueled by passion are compassionate and sensitive to the needs of others. Listen, learn, and grow each and every day. Those who are fueled by passion never get tired, never get bored, and never stop trying to make things better. An unknown author wrote, "When work, commitment, and pleasure all become one, and you reach that deep well where passion lives, nothing is impossible." I demand that each of you reinvest what we have invested into you, into the community that you're about to police. Remember the academy. Remember what it felt like to be helped, guided, nurtured, and cared for. I promise you nothing will be handed to you here at the VCU Police Department. If you want something, you're going to have to work for it. If you're given an opportunity, take it and make the most out of it. Invest in others you will find that that is one of the most fulfilling and rewarding things that you will do as a police officer. Always remember that doing what is right is often never easy, but it's always right. In closing, I congratulate each of you, and I ask that you just simply remember 6 words that I tell to every single police academy as they walk through the door. In every single situation that you involve yourself in, I want you to remember these 6 words. Keep them safe and help them. And if you do that, I can guarantee nothing but success for each and every one of you. So thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Chief. I now invite the 40th Basic Class Chaplain, Brandy Drumgold, back to the podium for the benediction.
Heavenly Father, it is with great pleasure that we accept the position to serve as your soldiers. Please bless us with wisdom and mental strength. Bless us with the courage to bear your sword against those who trespassed against you. As we transition from the classroom to the street, we pray that you protect our brothers and sisters in blue. Let us aid in the healing of this nation. Let us be each other's voice of reason and brave enough to correct each other when we are wrong. We thank you for revealing our shortcomings and helping us to overcome them. We thank you, Lord, for all that you have done and the work that you will do in our lives. In Jesus' name, let us all say amen.
Thank you, Officer Drumgold. This concludes our ceremony. We invite family and friends to join us in the lobby for a brief reception, and we'll have plenty of staff on hand to take as many photographs as you want. And thank you for your support of the VCU Police Department. 40th Basic Class, attend. Hook. Dismissed.